Let's talk about something that confuses a lot of older men: the psychology of women in their 30s. If you're a man in your 40s, 50s, or beyond, and you're dating or interested in dating women in this age range, understanding what's actually going on in their minds can make all the difference between success and frustration. First, let's get one thing straight. A woman in her 30s is not the same person she was in her 20s. This isn't just about age, it's about fundamental psychological shifts that happen during this decade. And if you're still approaching 30-something women the way you'd approach someone younger, you're making a critical mistake. The biggest shift that happens for women entering their 30s is what psychologists call the priority reorganization. In their 20s, many women are still figuring out who they are. They're experimenting, exploring, sometimes tolerating things that don't serve them because they haven't yet learned what they truly need. But something changes as they approach and move through their 30s. There's a clarity that emerges. A woman in her 30s knows herself. She's made mistakes, learned from them, and she's no longer interested in wasting time. This is where a lot of older men get tripped up. They think that their age, their experience, their financial stability automatically gives them an advantage. And while these things can be attractive, they're not enough. Not anymore. Because a 30-something woman isn't looking for someone to complete her. She's already complete. She's looking for someone to complement her life, not define it. Let's talk about what she's actually looking for. Emotional maturity is at the top of the list. And I don't mean the ability to not lose your temper. I mean the capacity to communicate clearly, to be vulnerable when appropriate, to handle conflict without drama, and to take responsibility for your emotions. A woman in her 30s has likely dated men who couldn't do these things, and she's done with it. If you can't have a difficult conversation without shutting down or blowing up, you're out. She's also looking for intentionality. Women in their 30s are thinking about their future in concrete terms. Whether she wants marriage, children, or a committed partnership, she's not interested in ambiguity. This doesn't mean you need to propose on the third date, but it does mean you need to know what you want and be honest about it. If you're still figuring things out at 50, that's a red flag to her. She needs to know you're capable of making decisions and commitments. Now here's something that trips up a lot of men: the biological clock factor. Yes, it's real, but not in the way you might think. The pressure women feel isn't just about having children, it's about not wasting precious time on relationships that aren't going anywhere. Every 6 months she invests in a relationship that's wrong for her is 6 months she can't get back. This creates an urgency that some men misinterpret as neediness or pressure. It's not. It's efficiency. She's done spending years in situationships that go nowhere. Let's address the elephant in the room. Why would a woman in her 30s be interested in an older man? Well, there are legitimate reasons, but they're probably not what you think. She's not looking for a father figure. She's not looking for someone to take care of her financially, though stability is attractive. What she's often looking for is the emotional maturity and life experience that can come with age. She wants someone who's been through enough to not sweat the small stuff, someone who knows how to prioritize what matters, someone who's past the games and the posturing. But here's the catch. Just because you're older doesn't mean you have these qualities. Age doesn't automatically equal maturity. If you're in your 50s but still acting like you're 25, still avoiding commitment, still playing games, she'll see right through it. In fact, it's even less attractive coming from you because you've had more time to figure it out. A woman in her 30s has also likely dealt with enough manipulation and narcissism to spot it from a mile away. She's been love-bombed and ghosted. She's dealt with men who said all the right things but whose actions told a different story. She's learned to trust patterns over words. So if you're trying to charm your way into her life with grand gestures, but your day-to-day behavior doesn't match, you're done. Consistency is everything. Let's talk about what doesn't work. Playing hard to get doesn't work. She doesn't have time for games. If you're interested, show it. If you're not, be clear. The hot and cold routine that might have worked on younger women will get you nowhere here. She'll simply move on to someone who knows what they want. Trying to make her jealous doesn't work. Mentioning other women, talking about your options, hinting at your desirability, these tactics backfire spectacularly. A 30-something woman doesn't compete for male attention the way she might have in her 20s. If you're playing that game, she'll assume you're not ready for something real and she'll exit gracefully. Showing up inconsistently doesn't work. Texting for a week straight, then disappearing for 3 days. Being super enthusiastic about plans, then canceling last minute. These inconsistencies signal unreliability, and reliability is non-negotiable for her at this stage. And here's a big one. Treating her like she's lucky to be with you because of your age or status doesn't work. The dynamic where an older man expects gratitude or deference simply because of the age gap is dead on arrival. She's looking for a partnership of equals, not a power dynamic where she's expected to be the grateful younger woman. So what does work? Directness works. If you're interested in her, tell her. If you're looking for something serious, say so. If you see a future with her, communicate that. She doesn't need flowery language or games of subtlety. She needs clear, honest communication. Follow through works. Do what you say you're going to do. Show up when you say you'll show up. If you make plans, keep them. If you say you'll call, call. This sounds basic, but you'd be amazed how many men fail at this. Respecting her independence works. She's built a life for herself. She has her career, her friends, her routines, her goals. Don't try to absorb her into your life or expect her to drop everything for you. Instead, show genuine interest in who she is as a complete person. Ask about her work, her passions, her dreams, and actually listen to the answers. Being vulnerable works. This is hard for a lot of older men who were raised to equate vulnerability with weakness. But emotional availability is incredibly attractive to a woman in her 30s. The ability to talk about your feelings, your fears, your past mistakes, this builds intimacy. She's not looking for a stoic statue. She's looking for a real human being. Understanding her timeline works. If she wants children and you're not sure, or you don't want more, be honest about that immediately. Don't string her along hoping she'll change her mind or hoping you'll figure it out eventually. That's not fair, and it's something she'll resent deeply. Respect her enough to let her make informed decisions about her own life. Let's talk about sex and attraction, because this matters. A woman in her 30s is often at the peak of her sexual confidence. She knows what she likes, she's not afraid to ask for it, and she's not going to fake enthusiasm to protect your ego. This can be intimidating for some men, especially if they're used to being with partners who are less assertive about their needs. But this is actually a gift. She's giving you a roadmap to her pleasure. Pay attention to it. Physical attraction matters, but it's not everything. She's less impressed by superficial markers of status and more interested in how you make her feel. Do you make her laugh? Do you make her feel safe? Do you make her feel seen and valued? Can you engage her intellectually? These things matter more than your car or your watch. Here's something crucial to understand. A woman in her 30s has likely been through enough heartbreak to have walls. Not in a damaged way, but in a self-protective way. She's not going to open up completely right away. She's going to test you, not with games, but by paying attention to how you handle small conflicts, how you respond when she sets boundaries, how you behave when you're stressed. She's gathering data. Pass these tests by being consistent, respectful, and honest. Let's address insecurity, because this comes up a lot. Some older men dating younger women become insecure about the age gap. They worry they're not fun enough, not energetic enough, not physically attractive enough. Here's the truth. If she's choosing to be with you, she's already decided you're enough. Your insecurity about the age difference is more likely to push her away than the actual age difference itself. Own who you are. Don't try to act younger or pretend you're not the age you are. She didn't choose you despite your age. She chose you, including your age. But also, be honest with yourself about why you're pursuing women in their 30s. Is it because you genuinely connect with them and find them compatible? Or is it because you're trying to avoid emotional intimacy with age-appropriate partners who might expect more from you? Women in their 30s can sense when they're being fetishized for their youth or when they're being chosen because you think they'll be easier to control. They're not. In many ways, they're more challenging partners because they have higher standards. The financial aspect deserves attention too. Yes, being financially stable is attractive. But throwing money around as a substitute for emotional connection doesn't work. She's not impressed by expensive dinners if the conversation is shallow. She'd rather have a genuine connection over coffee than a hollow interaction at a five-star restaurant. Financial generosity should come from a place of wanting to contribute to experiences together, not from a place of trying to buy affection or create obligation. Let's talk about baggage, because everyone has it. You have an ex-wife or two, maybe kids from previous relationships. She might have her own relationship history. The key is how you handle it. If you're still bitter about your ex, still fighting old battles, still letting past relationships dictate your present behavior, that's a problem. A woman in her 30s needs to know you've processed your past and learned from it. She doesn't need you to pretend it didn't happen, but she needs to know it's not still running your life. Similarly, if she has baggage, don't dismiss it or try to fix it. Just create space for it. Listen without judgment. Understand that her past shaped her, and if you want a relationship with her, you're signing up for all of her, including the parts that were formed by difficult experiences. Social dynamics matter too. How do you treat waiters, bartenders, service workers? How do you talk about women when she's not around? How do you handle disagreements with friends? She's watching all of this. Character reveals itself in how you treat people who can't do anything for you. If you're dismissive, condescending, or rude to people you perceive as beneath you, she's taking notes and none of them are good. Your relationship with technology and communication is also being evaluated. If you're the type who takes 3 days to respond to a text, or who never initiates plans, or who can't have a phone conversation without being distracted, these are red flags. She's looking for presence and engagement. You don't need to be glued to your phone, but you do need to be responsive and present when you're together. Here's something that often surprises older men. Women in their 30s are often more sexually adventurous and confident than younger women, but this requires trust and emotional safety. If you want access to that side of her, you need to create an environment where she feels completely secure being vulnerable with you. This means respecting boundaries, communicating clearly about desires and limits, and never pressuring or manipulating. Let's address the comparison trap. Don't compare her to your exes. Don't compare her to other women you're dating. Don't compare her to some ideal in your head. She's her own person with her own unique combination of qualities. If you're constantly measuring her against others, she'll feel it, and she'll leave. She deserves someone who chooses her specifically, not someone who's settling because she checks enough boxes. The integration question matters too. Is she meeting your friends, your family, or are you keeping her separate from the rest of your life? Women in their 30s are perceptive about when they're being hidden or kept compartmentalized. If you're serious about her, integrate her into your life. Introduce her to people who matter to you. Include her in your world. If you're not ready to do that, ask yourself why. Conversely, respect the pace at which she wants to integrate you into her life. She might have children from a previous relationship and be very protective about when and how you meet them. She might have close friendships that she's not ready to mix with a new romantic relationship. This isn't about hiding you, it's about protecting what matters to her. Honor that. A woman in her 30s is still growing, new goals, new ambitions. The right partner supports that instead of feeling threatened. If her drive intimidates you, you're not her match. Conflict will happen, but she won't tolerate avoidance, silent treatment, or blame. She wants someone who communicates directly and takes responsibility. Here's the truth. You might not be what she needs, and that's okay. She'd rather be single than force something that doesn't fit. To date her, you need emotional maturity. Be clear, consistent, and respectful. She's not a prize. She's evaluating you just as much as you evaluate her. If you're ready, dating a woman in her 30s is incredibly rewarding. She brings confidence, purpose, and depth, if you show up as the partner she deserves. Women in their 30s know exactly what they want. The question is, can you meet that standard?